How's it going, guys? So I'm gonna go ahead and make a holster, or modify this old holster to fit my Beretta PX4 Storm. Hopefully it comes out good. We shall see if it is. So I'm not a professional holster maker at all, but I do know how to make certain holsters. The gun is cleared, by the way, and there's no magazine. So, yeah, let's get started. So I'm gonna voice over the whole building process that I have going on. What I like to use is some lollipop sticks. I like to tape them, cover the little barrel cut out right there, just that way I have a smooth holster or Kydex sheath. I like to add a wooden dowel over my front sight, all the way over to the rear sight. I got that over at Home Depot. It's pretty cheap. You could just cut your own length and then cut out whatever you need to on it. I use some Scotch tape. I like to put at least 4 layers, 3 to 5 layers on the slide, just so that way the holster isn't super tight and gripping onto the slide and wearing it down a lot faster. I'm not a super professional at any of this, like I just said, but I've been making them for over a year now. They're pretty simple. Right here, I'm blocking off a layer for a level 2 retention device, or a level 2 hood. And it's pretty simple. Just tape everything over. I'm using some little like plastic cardstock things that I got a while ago. I just got it. They're just scrap, basically. And then I like to add some lollipop sticks around the trigger guard. You'll see in a minute. And that helps the Kydex, that prevents the Kydex from actually warping into your actual trigger guard. I like to leave a little bit on the edge, so that way it's able to mold into the trigger guard to give it a little bit more retention that you would typically have. As you can see right there, I have a little cutout for it. This whole process is pretty simple. Honestly, anyone could do it. I've been doing it with no experience, and they've been coming out pretty decent. I have a few that look pretty good. Okay, I'm back. So I do have this mount, but it's facing the totally opposite direction to where these holes would be. So I'm gonna go ahead and order the 34 mount that I need from G-Code. And then once I get that, I will finish this whole project. But just going over where this holster is going to be mounted at, or where the holes are already at, I could pretty much figure out how much room I'm going to need. So that mount's going to sit top holes about right here. So it's going to be somewhere around this area, which is perfect. That's all I really need to know. And then I can start blocking it off. Once again, I'm gonna fast forward through all this just because it's gonna take up way too much time. Basically gonna want to block that off around the same height as the level 2 guard, or a little bit higher, just so that way the level 2 guard doesn't interfere with the G-Code mount that I'm gonna have on there. So that's basically what I'm gonna do right now, is just block it all off. What I do like doing is rolling out the tape and then just using my knife to slice it all the way down. That way I have thinner pieces of the Scotch tape. It makes it real easy to tape up, and then I'm not fighting to bend it around the actual like handgun or any of the material that I already blocked off. On this side of the handgun, on the outside of it, I'm going to block off around that safety that I have right there. One, so that way the safety actually has room from the Kydex to be either activated or not activated, and it won't interfere with any of the Kydex or rub on it. And then 2, it's so that way I could mount the end of that hood onto, and then that way the hood won't have some standoff, and the back piece that's metal won't scrape up on the gun. You'll see later on exactly what I'm talking about. So now I'm basically done building the holster mount. All I need to do now is just create that standoff underneath the trigger guard, so that way I can add my retention device onto. Basically, what I'm just going to use a little cutout instead of using a big piece to block it off. This will work just as fine. And then I want to center it, make sure it's not off to one side. Alrighty, so this is my molding area. So I have my gun ready on standby. I have my Kydex down by throwing there. Like I said, I'm reshaping this one, which you can do, or you could throw in your fresh sheet of Kydex into the oven. I have the oven preheating right now. It's going to 350-ish degrees Fahrenheit. I have my little thermometer reader, and I can set it from Celsius to Fahrenheit. And once it reaches, the Kydex reaches around 350 degrees or so, I'm gonna take it out. I have my mats up top, and then this is my molding table, which I use out of some sheets of plywood, 2x4, and some fence hinges. And you just glue it all together. It doesn't look the best, but it doesn't affect how the kite comes out. Anyways, so, and this is all reused wood, so I didn't spend any money on it. You can see the big old cuts and stuff like that. I just spent like $13 on the hinges and some bolts that I already had, just to make it more sturdy, more secure. You could just get some screws and stuff like that, but I use bolts. Anyways, while that's heating up, I'm gonna go ahead and throw the Kydex in there. All right, so my Kydex is at about 270 right now. Pretty much already unfolded. I don't know if you can see inside there. It's already unfolded. I have some heat resistant gloves. And then at this point, I like to pull my mats out and just have them ready to squish my mold once I get it out. Let me go ahead and check to see what it's at. It's at like 315. I'm gonna give it another second and then I'll pull it out. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and pull it out now just because at the very top it got heated, so now it's deforming. So once again, Kydex is now super smooth. I'm gonna go ahead and add my firearm. I'm gonna position it to where I want it to be, around the area where I want it to be. And then let me just check it on the other side. Once I feel like that's good, then I'm gonna go ahead and pinch it with my mats. And then once I do that, I use some clamps that I get from like Harbor Freight or some cheap ones. And I stand on my mold and clamp all this down. And I also got two other ones that are a little bit easier to clamp down with. Like I said, I stand on it, just give it a little bit more pressure and just make the clamping process a lot easier. And once my foams are touching, I feel like that's enough pressure, and I'll just leave it there sitting for about 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how long it takes. It usually cools down around 10-ish minutes, and then you can actually work with it or see what you need to modify, if you need to modify anything. So I'll get back to you in like 10-ish minutes. All right, so let's go ahead and pull this bad boy out. What I like to do is lift those up a bit and then start unscrewing. And voila. So this is how the holster looks. The holes were adjusted a little bit too much to my liking, but that's totally okay. So this is how it came out. Looks pretty good. Molded almost perfectly. Maybe the front sight is a little high, but that's perfectly fine. The holes were warped, so I'm gonna have to re-drill those, but that's a-okay. So let's go ahead and take all these, all the tape off and see how the holster actually feels on the actual gun. So basically just take off whatever you don't want, whatever you put on. If you're not going to reuse any of these pieces, then you could just go ahead and throw them away. I like to keep certain things just because I do reuse them. But yeah, super simple. Just take everything off that you put on, and that's pretty much it. But let's see how this fits. And that's pretty good. Once I add the retention onto this, that's gonna hold almost perfect. So yeah, I'm gonna need to buy my mounts and my level 2 guard, and then everything should be good. As you could tell, the safety is not blocked off, and I can use it with the safety on if I choose to, which I probably won't, because there's no point of carrying a gun if you don't have your gun loaded and ready to fire whenever you draw it. So plus this is a double action and single action firearm, so I don't really need that safety regardless. There is a small little hole right here on my trigger guard, but that's perfectly okay with me. I don't feel like there's gonna be an issue with that in the future. So yeah, it's pretty much solid. I might be able to use the mount that I already have, which is a weird sighted mount, but I'll try it out. If I don't like it, then I can always just buy a new one and then have it flipped that way. So let me take a look, see what I'm gonna do exactly. And then the level 2 guard, of course, I'm gonna have to wait for that eventually to come in. And then I'm leaving a little bit of material on there just so that way I can fold it out. So whenever I do add that level 2 guard, those mounting holes will not, or those mounting screws, the back pieces, won't scratch up my firearm. Not that I care for that too much, but it should help. That's it. All right, so I finished sanding down the edges. Now I'm going to polish them. For that, I'm gonna use either my polishing wheel or this little small fluffy one, which I prefer using this one since it's not super harsh on the material, and this one would cause little dents and stuff like that into the edges, which I really don't like. And I'm using everything on a Dremel basically. So I went ahead and polished all the edges. As you can tell, it's a little shiny and they're pretty smooth for the most part. I don't think I'm gonna have any issues with that, but let me clean this up and then I'll show you what it looks like inside. Okay, so this is how it turned out. I added some screws and just some blocks on there so that way I could have my retention on there. Came out with more of a rounder profile. I might round this out a little bit more just to get that perfectly round profile on the bottom, but it's pretty tight, works really well. Nice snaps in and got really good retention, little to no noise whenever I'm walking or moving it. But yeah, so I'm gonna wait on those parts to come in and then I'll finish out this video by then. Hopefully you guys like this, but pretty sweet build. All right, so I ended up drilling my holes. It looks kind of nasty, but it's fine for what I'm gonna use it for. I went ahead and put my little T-posts in here, and then I also got these rubber washers. I'm pretty much just gonna mount this on here, which should go on good. I will use Loctite eventually. I just want to make sure everything fits well before I actually use any Loctite. Oh, this one might be off a little bit. We shall see. I might be able to get it. Yep, perfectly fine. I got it. So pretty much how it's gonna sit. I'm gonna end up using Loctite eventually on it, but like I said, I want to see how everything fits and mounts. And now I'm gonna put my level 2 guard, which is gonna go over the holster just like so on there. But as you can see, it fits a little set back. I might end up using larger rubber washers or grommets, and then we'll see though. So I'm using the G-code systems. I want to see exactly how it falls, and then I can lock that in, and I can set where I want this to be. If it's gonna be hitting, then I'm gonna want to adjust it. So basically right there looks fine. I might not be able to mark it, but we shall see. There we go. That's pretty much how it's gonna sit with everything on there, which looks pretty clean to me. Let me go ahead and mark this and drill these holes, and then I'll add this on there, and then I'll show you the end result. Alrighty, so I went ahead, mounted that. I drilled my holes, mounted my level 2 guard. Sorry if it's moving a lot. My mount's not super steady. But mounted my level 2 guard, and I already found out where I'm gonna drill my other hole, my last hole, which is gonna be right here, right next to the previous hole that I had. But I do have one issue. Whenever I activate the thumb guard or the level 2 guard, it gets stuck just because this part of the holster rubs up against these screws. So what I'm gonna do, take everything off, trim that down a little bit, and then it should be just fine. And then these, they're known to not be super smooth, so I'm gonna try to smoothen that out a little bit. I'm gonna polish it a little bit with a little polishing wheel, and then I'm also gonna add a little bit of white WD-40 or white grease, should I say, on this plastic. Hopefully I don't get this stickiness afterwards. All right, you guys, so holster's done. So what I ended up doing, I mean, the level 2 guard still kind of sticks. Like I said, I'm gonna add some grease on there. Hopefully that fixes that problem. If not, it's totally fine, because once I draw the firearm, then it flips up. So just like that. Anyways, what I ended up doing was went ahead and trimmed this because it was sitting up higher. I went ahead and trimmed this so that way it didn't get in the way of the level 2 guard. As you can see, the screws no longer interfere with the holster. On this side, I also went ahead and trimmed it because it looked weird having it so high up. Then I went ahead and put this mount on there, and that's the G-code system. So I can show you how it looks like on the holster, the holster mounted. It pretty much snaps into those rings, push it all the way down, and then lock it closed, and there you go. Like I said, the holster just barely misses that G-code system, which is perfectly fine with me. It fits really good. The handgun fits really good into it. My ears do not touch those backers right there, so there's like no metal to metal contact unless if I'm like squishing the holster together. But that's okay with me. I don't mind it. A gun is a gun. You could always replace it, paint it, do other things to it. And then this is the actual mount that I would be using. Right here, I kind of have a little bit of standoff from the actual level 2 guard. And then it's gonna ride a lot lower once I have it on. I'll show you a video of me having it on, but works just fine. I just need to, and then like I said, the retention is really good on there. And then if someone does try to draw it while the level 2 guard is down, it will get stuck and it'll catch on the actual hammer of the handgun. So perfectly good. This was just a quick way of showing you that you don't need any fancy materials to make your own holsters. All you need is some Kydex, some foam, and something that you could compress the Kydex onto your actual mold, some Scotch tape and honestly little lollipop sticks, so you can actually put some standoff on there, or so you could create the mold for your handgun. But yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how easy it is to mount this holster onto my G-Code systems. Sorry, my camera's bumping. I have it on a little swivel mount thing. It's not super steady, but pretty much just put my drop leg on. Most of the time I won't run this exact one. I'll have this other G-Code that will run right off my belt and it'll sit a lot higher. But I just like the drop leg holster on this one. So you just slap it on there, find the hole, slap it on there, fix my shirt, lock it in, and that's good. Now I'm ready to go on my day-to-day. And then if I need to draw, I can draw. This hood is still messing me up because it gets stuck, but it's fine. Once you hold the button down and you pull the gun up, your hood will fall. But I'm gonna add some grease on there and hopefully I'm able to fix that issue. And then if I want to switch guns, I can. I really like this system because I have a bunch of holsters that are compatible with it. Like this is my level 4 that I made for duty, and it's rocking my PSA dagger, so easily swap if I need to. But other than that, one of the best holsters, better looking holsters that I made recently. But yep, not too bad, not too bad.